Hello friends, welcome to our channel Law and GK. On this channel we discuss the contents of law and previous year papers of judiciary and other legal exams. In our previous videos we have discussed the previous year papers of Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand. And today we will be discussing Delhi Judiciary previous year paper of 2014. If you are new here, then I would like to recommend you to subscribe to this channel by pressing the subscribe button, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Now let's move towards the question paper. Question number 1. An international commercial arbitration is an arbitration where at least one of the parties is option 1, a body corporate incorporated in any country other than India. Option 2, a body of individuals whose central management and control is exercised in any country other than India. Option 3, the government of a foreign country. Or option 4, all of the above. The right answer here is option number 4, all of the above. It is mentioned in definition under section 2F. Next question, question 2. As per section 3, subsection 2 of Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, a communication is deemed to have been received on the day when it is dispatched to the addressee. Option 2, it is delivered to the addressee. Option 3, written acknowledgement of the receipt is sent to the sender. Or option 4, written acknowledgement of the receipt is received by the sender. According to section 3, subsection 2, the right answer is when it is delivered to the addressee. Question number 3. Which of the following is not an essential condition for the arbitration agreement as per section 7 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act? According to section 7 of the Act, the agreement must be registered. The right answer is option number 1 only. Registration of arbitration agreement is not necessary. Question number 4. Which of the following is not a ground for setting aside an arbitration award under section 34 of Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996? Option 1, incapacity of a party. Option 2, arbitration agreement not being valid under the law in force. Option 3, award contains decisions on the matters beyond the scope of submission to arbitration. Or option 4, none of the above. What is mentioned in section 34? There are some grounds given in 34, and here the right answer will be none of the above, because all these are grounds. Come to question number 5. In which of the following cases it was held by the Supreme Court that Part 1 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 96 would have no application to international commercial arbitration held outside India, and therefore such awards would only be subject to jurisdiction of Indian courts when the same are sought to be enforced in India in accordance with Part 2 of the said Act? Well, it was held in case of Bharat Aluminium Company etc. versus Kaisar Aluminium Technical Services. The right answer, option 1. Come to question number 6. The term consensus ad idem means what? No agreement can have more than one meaning: to agree the same way, to agree on the same thing in the same sense, and to agree for the different objects in the same sense. It is to agree on the same thing in the same sense. Right answer is option 3. Come to question number 7. In which case it was held that a contract through telephone is concluded at the place where the acceptance is heard? Lakshman Shukla versus Gauridat, Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball, Bhagwan Das, Govardhan Das Kedia versus Girdhari Lal Parshottam Das. Or option 4, Satyabrat Ghosh versus Mugniram. The right answer here is option 3, Bhagwan Das, Govardhan Das Kedia versus Girdhari Lal Parshottam Das. Come to question number 8. A saves B's property from fire. The circumstances indicated that he had done so gratuitously. Whether A is entitled to compensation from B or no compensation, compensation from the government or compensation from the heirs of B. Here he has done the act so gratuitously, so there will be no compensation. Right answer is option 2. It is basically a conceptual based question. Come to question number 9. The doctrine of privity of contract means that a contract is a private affair between the parties. Option 2, consideration can be supplied only by the parties to the contract. Option 3, the contract can be enforced only by a civil and private action. Or option 4, only parties to a contract can sue and be sued upon the contract. Well, doctrine of privity means that only parties to the contract can sue and can be sued upon the contract. The right answer is option number 4. Question 10. In India, the doctrine of impossibility of performance of a contract being void is based on option 1, the theory of implied term, option 2, the theory of just and reasonable solution, option 3, supervening impossibility or illegality as laid down in section 56 of the Indian Contract Act, or option 4, the principle of unjust enrichment. Doctrine of impossibility is in which section? Section 56 of the Act. So right answer is option number 3 only. Question number 11. An agreement is void if its object or consideration is forbidden by law, of such nature that if permitted it would defeat the provisions of the law, or is fraudulent, or the option 3, the court regards it as immoral and against public policy, and option 4, all of these are correct. So all these 3 options are correct. The right answer is option number 4, and it is mentioned where? Under section 23 of Contract Act. Come to question number 12. Which of the following is not a quasi-contract? Option 1, obligation of a person enjoying the benefit of non-gratuitous act. Option 2, responsibility of finder of the goods. Option 3, quantum meritum. Or option 4, novation. Novation is mentioned where? Under section 62. And responsibility of finder of goods is in section 71. And obligation of a person enjoying the benefit of non-gratuitous act is in section 70. Which one of the following is not a quasi-contract? Right answer is option number 4, novation. Come to question number 13. A applies to banker for loan at a time when there is a stringency in the money market. The banker declines to make the loan except at an unusually high rate of interest. A accepts the loan on these terms. In this case, the contract is what? Vitiated by undue influence, or valid because the transaction in ordinary course of business. Option 3, void because the banker took unfair advantage of stringency in money market, or option 4, voidable at the option of A, who was deceived by the banker. Well, it is basically, if you see the section 26 illustration D, then it is valid case. Valid because this is the transaction in the ordinary course of business. Come to question number 14. Inadequacy of consideration is relevant in determining the question of a fraud, misrepresentation, undue influence and free consent. The right answer is option 4, free consent, and it is mentioned in section 25, explanation 2. Come to question number 15. P, a wholesale dealer in sugar, sells sugar to Q with a condition that Q shall not sell the sugar beyond 1 kilometer of P's godown. The agreement is valid without free consent, in restraint of trade, and thus void or voidable at the option of P. It is in a restraint of trade and thus void, and it is mentioned in what? Section 27 of Contract Act. Come to question number 16. While determining damages for the breach of contract, which of the following are taken into account? Motive, indirect loss, means or remedying the inconvenience caused by non-performance, or option 4, all of the above. It is option number 3, means or remedying the inconvenience caused by non-performance. Question number 17. In case of acceptance by post, at what point the acceptance is complete as against the proposer? When the letter of acceptance is put in the course of transmission so as to be out of the power of the acceptor. Option 2, the letter of acceptance has been written. Option 3, when the letter of acceptance has been received. Option 4, when the letter of acceptance has been read by the proposer. The right answer is option number 1, when the letter of acceptance is put in the course of transmission so as to be out of the power of acceptor. Question number 18. A person who finds goods belonging to another and takes them into his custody is subject to the same responsibility as a bailer, as an indemnity, as an agent, or as a bailee. It is as a bailee. Right answer is option 4, and it is given in section 71. Come to question number 19. A contract to sing for B at a concert for rupees 50,000 which are paid in advance. A is too ill to sing on the day of the concert. The consequence is option A. A is bound to make compensation to B for the loss of the profit which B would have made if A had been able to sing. Option 2. A is bound to refund to B rupees 50,000 paid in advance. Option 3. A can be forced to sing at the concert. Or option 4. A is bound to refund only that money out of rupees 50,000 that he has not spent? Well, it is option number 2, bound to refund, and it is mentioned where? Under section 65. Come to question number 20. Where persons reciprocally promise firstly to do certain things which are legal and secondly under specified circumstances to do certain other things which are illegal. The first set of promise is contract, but the second set is a void agreement. Option 2, the first set of promise is voidable but the second set is a void agreement. Option 3, the entire set of promises is void, or option 4, the entire set of promises is valid. It is basically section 51. So the right answer is option 1. First set of promise is a contract but the second set is a void agreement. Come to question number 21. If the compensation to be paid on the breach of the contract is genuine pre-estimate of the prospective damages, it is known as what? Special damages, penalty, unliquidated damages, or liquidated damages? It is liquidated damages. Option number 4, and mentioned where? Under section 74. Come to question number 22. Mark the correct answer in respect of the contract of guarantee. It may be in writing, it may be oral, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 and 2. It is both 1 and 2, and it is mentioned where? Under section 126 of Contract Act. Question number 23. An agreement which is enforceable by law at the option of one or more of the parties thereto, but not at the option of the other or others, is a valid contract, unenforceable contract, voidable contract, or quasi contract. It is voidable contract, and mentioned where? Under section 2 clause I of Contract Act. Question number 24. An agency can be terminated by the principal revoking his authority. Option 2, an agent renouncing the business of the agency. Option 3, either the principal or agent dying, or all of the above. Agency, it is section 201. Right answer is option number 4. Come to question number 25. If the time of performance of a contract is the essence of the contract and the promisor fails to perform the contract by the specified time, the contract is void, valid, voidable at the option of the promise, or infructuous. It is voidable at the option of the promisee. Spelling mistake. Section 55 of Indian Contract Act. Come to question number 26. Which of the following is correct statement? Evidence excluded by the Evidence Act is inadmissible even if it seems essential for ascertainment of the truth. Parties cannot contract themselves out of the provisions of the Evidence Act, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 and 2. It is both first and second statements are true. Question number 27. Which of the following qualities to be treated as a fact within the meaning assigned to it under Evidence Act? That a man heard or saw something, that a man holds a certain opinion, that a man acts in good faith, or all of the above. Fact, section 3 of Evidence Act. Right answer is option number 4, all of the above. Come to question number 28. According to the Evidence Act, a fact is said to be not proved when the court believes that the fact does not exist, or the fact is vague, or the fact is neither proved nor disapproved, or option 4, all of the above. This is also from section 3, and the right answer will be fact is neither proved nor disproved. Come to question number 29. A prosecutes B for adultery with C. Wife of A. B contested by denying the allegation. B was found guilty and convicted in the said case. Subsequently, C was prosecuted on the charge of bigamy on the allegation that she had married B during the subsistence of her marriage with A. C contested by denying that she was married to A. In the case against C, the judgment in the first case against B is relevant, irrelevant, binding, or none of the above. It is basically irrelevant. It is section 43 illustration B of Indian Evidence Act. Come to question number 30. Mark the incorrect statement. A court may take the assistance of expert for forming opinion on the point of foreign law, art, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 and 2. Expert opinion. It is section 45 of Evidence Act, and right answer is both 1 and 2, foreign law as well as art. Come to next question, question number 31. Which of the statements given below are correct? In civil cases, the character to prove the conduct imputed to a party is not relevant. The first option is basically what? It is related to section 52 of Evidence Act. Option 2. In criminal proceedings, bad character of accused is not relevant unless the evidence of good character has been given. And this one is section 53. And option 3. In criminal proceedings, previous conviction of accused is relevant evidence of bad character 54. So the right answer here is all of these. Come to question number 32. A is on trial for murder of C. There is evidence to show that C was murdered by A and B, and that B said A and I murder C as against A. The evidence is option 1 not to be taken into consideration as the evidence is hearsay. Option 2 to be taken into consideration as it is direct. Option 3 not to be taken into consideration as A and B are not being jointly tried. Option 4 to be taken into consideration as A and B are accomplices. It is what? Option number 3, and this is illustration B of section 30 of Evidence Act. Come to question number 33. The essential conditions for dying declaration. Dying declaration is in which section? Section 32 of Indian Evidence Act. To be relevant include the statement is made by the person as to the cause of his death. Statement is made by a person as to any of the circumstances of the transaction which resulted in his death. Option 3. Person must have been under expectation of death at the time of making the statement. Which of the above proposition are correct? The first option is correct and the second one is also correct, but the third one is not. Right answer is option number 1 and 2. Come to question number 34. Which of the following statements is correct? Confession caused by inducement, threat or promise flowing from person in authority giving reasonable expression to the accused that he would thereby avoid punishment is relevant. It is what? Section 24. It is mentioned in section 24. Option 2. Confession by accused while in custody of police, even if made in the immediate presence of magistrate, shall not be proved. It is section 26. And the option 3. The confession of accused made in police custody may be proved if as a consequence of the information received as a relevant fact is discovered. It 27. So the right answer is what? Is none of the above. Come to question number 35. A is accused of receiving stolen goods knowing them to be stolen. He offers to prove that he refused to sell them below their value. Which of the following is correct? A may prove the statements though in the nature of admission because they are explanatory to conduct influenced by facts in issue. Option 2. A may not prove the statements because they are self-serving admissions. Option 3. A may not prove the statements because as accused he cannot be a witness in his own defense. Option 4. All of these are incorrect. Here the right answer is what? Option number first. It is mentioned in section 21 and it is basically illustration D of section 21. And what does section 21 talks about? It talks about the proof of admission against persons making them. Come to question number 36. Which of the following is incorrect under the Evidence Act? Option 1. In a case where A is charged with receiving a particular stolen wristwatch knowing the same to be stolen, the fact that at the same time he was in possession of other such stolen articles is relevant. Option 2. In a case where A is tried for the murder of B by intentionally shooting him to death, the fact that A was in a habit of shooting at people with the intent to murder them is relevant. This one, the option number 2, is basically illustration O of section 14, which talks about facts showing existence of state of mind or of bodily feeling. So incorrect statement is option number 2 only. Come to question number 37. C is employed as a cashier by a firm to receive money as is a sale counter. It is his duty to make entries in the ledger showing the amounts received by him. He is prosecuted on the charge of criminal breach of trust in respect of rupees 90,000 on the basis of evidence showing he made an entry showing that he had received rupees 10,000 only, whereas he had actually received rupees 1 lakh. C has taken the plea that the wrong entry was accidental and unintentional. The fact that other entries made in the same ledger are false, each showing a receipt of less amount by C, is relevant as it has a bearing on the question of intention. Option 2, not relevant as other entries are not basis of charge. Option 3, not relevant as evidence is extraneous. Or option 4, not relevant as other entries are not in issue. What is this? It is option 1, relevant as it has a bearing on the question of intention, and this one is basically illustration B of section 15 of Evidence Act. Come to question number 38. Mark which is not a public document within the meaning of the expression used in the Evidence Act. The records of motor accident claims tribunal. This one is public document. Option 2, the register of private documents maintained in the office of sub registrar under Registration Act. This one is also a public document. Option 3, the record of proceedings of the House of People maintained in Lok Sabha Secretariat. And option 4, pronote executed by A while taking a loan from money lender. This one is not a public document. Option number 4 is the right answer, and it is a section 74 of Evidence Act. Come to question number 39. Which of the following is correct? There is a presumption that maps of various states and union territories made by the Survey of India are accurate. There is a presumption that map prepared by a registered architect for the purpose of a civil dispute is accurate. Both option 1 and 2 and neither option 1 and 2. It is section 83 of Evidence Act, and the right answer is option number 1. It is basically a presumption. Question number 40. The evidence of contents of information recorded or stored in a computer may be given through computer output without production of the original, provided certain conditions are satisfied. The said conditions include what? Option 1, if the computer was not operating properly during the material part of the period over which it was used to store or process. Option 2, the right answer here is both 1 and 2, option 4, and this is section 65B of Evidence Act. Come to question number 41. In which case oral evidence cannot be given? Oral evidence, section 92. A hired lodgings of B and gives to B a card on which he wrote rooms rupees 2000 a month. A in a suit wants to prove verbal agreement that the terms included partial board. Option 2, A hired lodgings of B for a year. A regularly stamped. The agreement was drawn up by an attorney and signed by both of them. The document is silent on the subject of board. A in a suit wants to prove verbal agreement that the terms included partial board. Both of 1 and 2 or neither 1 and 2. The right answer is here is option 2. And this one is illustration H of section 92. Come to question number 42. The burden of proving that the case of the accused comes within any of the general exceptions in IPC is upon whom? The prosecution, court, accused or investigating police officer. It is upon the accused. Section 105 of Indian Evidence Act. Come to question number 43. The facts of which the court must take judicial notice include gazetted holidays observed by the Government of India, rules of road, neither 1 and 2, and option 4, both 1 and 2. It is option 4, both 1 and 2, section 57 of Indian Evidence Act. Next question, question 44. Leading questions may be asked in examination in chief. Leading question in examination chief, section 142 of Evidence Act. With permission of the court as to the matters which are introductory. Option 2, if in the opinion of the court the matter involved has been already sufficiently proved. Option 3, neither 1 or nor 2. Option 4, both 1 and 2. It is both 1 and 2. Come to question number 45. For deciding whether or not a witness shall be compelled to answer questions, the court shall have regard to consideration which include as to whether such questions are: option 1, proper if the truth of imputation conveyed thereby would seriously affect the opinion of the court as to the credibility of the witness on the subject matter of his deposition. Option 2, improper if the truth of imputation conveyed thereby would affect in the slight degree the opinion of the court as to the credibility of the witness on the subject matter of his deposition. Option 3, both 1 and 2, or option 4, none of the above. This one is basically provisions contained in section 148, 1 and 2. So both these options are covered here. The right answer will be option number 3, both 1 and 2. Come to question number 46. Which of the following is correct? Rebuttable presumption arises that a man is alive if it is shown that he was alive within 30 years. Option 2, rebuttable presumption arises that a man is dead if it is proved that he has not been heard of 7 years by those who would naturally have heard from him if he had been alive. Both 1 and 2 or none of the above. Both these are section 107 and 108 of Evidence Act. The right answer here is option number 3. Come to question number 47. The court may presume that a document creating an obligation is in the hands of the obligator, the obligation has been discharged. Option 2, judicial and official acts have not been regularly performed. Option 3, bill of exchange accepted or endorsed was accepted or endorsed for deficient consideration. Or option 4, all of these are incorrect. See section 114 of Evidence Act, and according to that only first option is correct, and because the second one is, it is written that acts have not been regularly performed, whereas in illustration E they should have been regularly performed. Option 3 is related to illustration C, and here it is mentioned that deficient consideration, whereas in illustration C it is mentioned as good consideration. And first option is illustration I. The right answer here is option number 1 only. Come to question number 48. A intentionally and falsely led B to believe that a plot of land belonged to him. On that basis, he induced B to buy and pay for it. Afterwards, the plot of land became the property of A. A brought a suit to set aside the sale in favor of B on the ground that at the time of sale he had no title. In such a suit, A may presume a want of the title at the time of sale. A cannot be allowed to prove a want of his title. Option 3 depends upon the value of the property, or all of these are incorrect. It is option 2. A cannot be allowed to prove the want of his title, and this is related to what? Estoppel. Which section? Section 115 of Evidence Act, and this is basically its illustration of this section. Come to question number 49. All persons are competent to testify unless the court considers that they are prevented from understanding the questions put to them because of tender age, correct, extreme old age, mental disease, all of the above. Right answer is all of the above, and it is related to section 118 of Evidence Act, which is who may testify. Come to question number 50. The judge's power to put questions or order production of documents does not include authorization to, option 1, compel a witness to answer any question which such a witness is entitled to refuse to answer if the question is asked by adverse party. The option 1 is the correct answer, and it is in section 165, which talks about judge's power to put questions. Question number 51. Section 5 of Limitation Act 1963 does not apply to, option 1, suits, option 2, execution, petitions under order 21 CPC, petition for divorce under the Hindu Marriage Act 1956, or option 4, all of the above. The right answer here is option number 4, all of the above, and it is combined effect of section 5 plus section 29 subsection 3 of Limitation Act, because suits are given in section 5 that it will not apply to suits, and these two are from section 29. Come to question number 52. Which of the following is not a disability under section 6? Section 6 is what? Legal disability of Limitation Act 1963. Minority, insanity, insolvency, or idiocy. It is insolvency. Option number 3. Question number 53. In case of a suit for property which the plaintiff has conveyed while insane, the time from which the period of limitation, 3 years under Article 102 of the Schedule of Limitation Act 1963, begins to run is when the plaintiff is restored to sanity. Option 2, the date of property was conveyed. Option 3, when the plaintiff has knowledge of the conveyance. Option 4, both 1 and 3. It is option number 4, both 1 and 3. And it is given where? Under Article 102 of Limitation Act. Come to question number 54. A suit to set aside a transfer of property made by the guardian of a ward by the ward who has attained majority can be filed within 3 years. Article 60, Clause 1 of the Schedule of the Limitation Act 1963, from when the transfer of property was made. Option 2, the person in possession is served notice. Option 3, ward attains majority. Option 4, person in possession refuses to hand over the possession. It is option 3, ward attains majority, and it is mentioned where? Under Article 60, Clause 1, under this article only. Next is question number 55. In case of a suit by a person excluded from the joint family property to enforce a right to share within therein, the time from which the period of limitation, 12 years under Article 110 of Schedule of Limitation Act 1963, begins to run is from the date of exclusion. Option 2, when the exclusion becomes known to the plaintiff, when the plaintiff makes known his intention to recover possession. Option 4, the date of refusal to hand over the possession to the plaintiff. It is in Article 110. So the right answer here is option number 2, when the exclusion becomes known to the plaintiff. Come to next question, 56. The Supreme Court in Collector Land Acquisition Anantnag versus Katiji laid down the guiding principle for deciding an application under Section 5 of Limitation Act, principles governing the nature of acknowledgement under 18 of Limitation Act, both 1 and 2 or none of the above. It is option number 1 under Section 5 of Limitation Act 1963. Come to question number 57. The period of limitation for preferring an appeal from a decree passed by a court subordinate to the High Court to a High Court from the date of decree is how much period? It is 90 days and mentioned where? Under Article 116A of Limitation Act. Come to question number 58. Section 21, effect of substituting or adding new plaintiff or defendant of Limitation Act 1963 does not apply in the case of which of the following? Option 1, addition of a new defendant for the first time. Option 2, substitution of a new plaintiff for the first time. Option 3, transposition of the parties. Or option 4, addition of a new plaintiff for the first time. It is transposition of party and mentioned where? Under section 21 only. Come to question number 59. Which of the following is correct with regard of acknowledgement of liability under 18, section 18 of Limitation Act? Acknowledgement cannot be undated. Acknowledgement can be made to a person other than the person entitled to the property. Acknowledgement need not be in writing. Acknowledgement can be made after the expiry of the period of limitation. It is what? See the section 18 of the Limitation Act and its explanation A of 18 talks about option 2, acknowledgement can be made to a person other than the person entitled to the property. Come to question 60. Under section 18 of Limitation Act 1963, fresh period of limitation has to be computed from the date of expiry of half of the extended period of limitation. Option 2, delivering the acknowledgement, signing the acknowledgement, expiry of the initial period of limitation. It is option 3, signing of the acknowledgement, and it is given under section 18 only. Question number 61. The relation of a partnership according to section 5 of Indian Partnership Act arises from the status, contract, friendship, or none of the above. It arises from the contract, option 2, because in section 5 it is mentioned that the relationship of partnership arises from contract and not from status. Question 62. The authority of a partner to bind the firm by his acts done in the usual course of the business is called his implied authority. Such authority does not include selling the firm's goods, to borrow in a trading firm, settling accounts with the persons dealing with the firm, or withdraw a suit or proceeding filed on the firm's behalf. It is option 4, withdraw a suit or proceeding filed on the firm's behalf, and mentioned where? Under section 19 of Partnership Act. Come to question number 63. A partnership firm may be dissolved with the consent of all the partners or in accordance with the contract between the partners. Option 3, both 1 and 2. Option 4, none of the above. It is what? Option number 3, both 1 and 2. And it is mentioned where? It is basically dissolution by agreement. Section 40 of Partnership Act. Dissolution by the agreement. Come to question number 64. When a minor elects to become a partner, he becomes personally liable to third parties for all the acts of the firm done since he was admitted to the benefits of the firm of the partnership. Option 2, from the date of his attaining majority. Option 3, from the date of becoming a partner. Or option 4, both 2 and 3. It is option 1, he was admitted to the benefits of the partnership, and it is mentioned where? Under section 30 of the Partnership Act, where it is mentioned that minors admitted to the benefit of the partnership. Come to question number 65. In which of the following cases a partner may cease to be a partner without the dissolution of the firm? So when is partner cease to be a partner? By retirement, insolvency, death, or all of the above? It is basically all of these, because retirement is given in which section? Section 32 of the Act, and insolvency is mentioned in section 34, and death is under section 35 of the Partnership Act. So right answer is option number 4, all of the above. Next question, question 66. A court may deny specific performance of an agreement to sell an immovable property if it is of the opinion that the consideration is inadequate. Option 2, the court feels that the contract is onerous to the defendant. Option 3, the performance of the contract would involve hardship on the defendant which he did not foresee, and non performance would involve no such hardship on the plaintiff, or option 4 all of the above? It is option number 3. It is basically section 20 subsection 2b of SRA. But now this section has been amended and substituted with new provision of a substituted performance of contract. Now come to question number 67. The relief of injunction cannot be granted when equally efficacious relief can be obtained by any other usual mode of proceeding. Option 2, plaintiff has not come to the court with clean hands. Option 3, to prevent a nuisance when it is not reasonably clear, or option 4 all of these. It is option 4 all of these, and it is section 41 of SRA. Now question number 68. As a shopkeeper has kept the goods for sale on the pavement outside the shop and constructed temporary overhead shed, flying squad of NCT of Delhi demolished the temporary construction and seized the goods from the pavement without giving him any notice. After 1 year, S filed a suit for recovery of possession of pavement against the NCT of Delhi under section 6 of SRA. The suit is barred as filed against the government or after the period prescribed or without the title over the pavement, or option 4 both 1 and 2. It is basically suit is barred because it is against the government and after the period prescribed. So both 1 and 2, option 4 is the right answer. And it is mentioned where? Under section 6 of subsection 2 of SRA. Question 69. The engagement diamond ring of N was stolen by T, a thief who sold it to J, a jeweler, and filed a suit for recovery of the ring against J. J contended that he is ready to pay the price of the ring, whether the decree for a recovery of diamond ring can be refused on the ground that the compensation in terms of money would be adequate relief for the loss of the ring. J is the bona fide purchaser of the ring. For consideration, option 3, there is no dual relation between N and J, and option 4 is none of the above. It is basically option 4, none of the above. You can see the provision of section 8D of SRA. Here the decree cannot be refused on any of the given grounds. So the right answer is option 4, none of the above. Come to question number 70. It is the principle of law that a person who has been in a long and continuous possession can protect the same by seeking injunction against any person in the whole world other than the true owner. The above statement is true, false, partially true, or partially false. It is a true statement, and it is mentioned in section 6 of SRA. And there is a case which is Pratap Rai and Kothari versus John Briganza in case of 1999, and this principle is basically based on this case. Now come to question number 71. Which of the following statements are correct in the light of the provisions of Article 356? Option 1, the President must proclaim emergency only on the basis of the report from the Governor of the state. Governor can recommend President to proclaim emergency on the basis of the personal information suggesting large-scale defection of legislators. Option 3, the President can proclaim emergency only on the advice of the Council of Ministers, or all of these. It is option number 3, the President can proclaim emergency only on the advice of Council of Ministers. And this thing is mentioned where? It is Article 53(1). Read with Article 74(1) of the Constitution. Now come to next question 72, in which case it was held by the Supreme Court that delay in deciding mercy petition is a sufficient ground for commuting the death sentence to life imprisonment. It is option number 1, Shatrughan Chauhan versus Union of India. Question number 73. Which of the following is correct about the preamble of the Constitution? It was adopted after adoption of operative articles of the Constitution. It envisages all citizens have fundamental rights. It seeks to secure good livelihood to all. It is not part of the Constitution. The right answer is option number 1. It was adopted after adoption of the operative articles of the Constitution. And not part of Constitution. It is preamble is part of Constitution. It is cleared in which case? Keshwanand Bharti case. Come to question number 74. Which of the following is true about Supreme Court of India? That Supreme Court shall sit in such places are approved by the Chief Justice of India. Intimation to the President of India. No judgment shall be delivered by Supreme Court save in open court. President of India can enlarge the jurisdiction and powers of Supreme Court. Or option 4, all authorities including armed forces in the territory of India shall act in aid of the Supreme Court. So here the true statement is that no judgment shall be delivered by Supreme Court save in open court. Option 2, and it is which article? Article 145(4) of the Constitution. Come to question number 75. Which of the following writ is not amenable to the principle of res judicata? It is a habeas corpus. Option 4 is the right answer. 76. Curative petition may be entertained by Supreme Court in the following situations. What is the name of the case which is famous for curative petition? It is question 76. So the famous case for curative petition is Rupa Ashok Hurra versus Ashok Hurra, 2002. The situations given here is when a judge on the bench, having heard the matter, did not disclose his connection with the subject matter. Correct. The petitioner filing the petition was not a party before the court but has suffered a grave prejudice by the decision. Correct. The grounds mentioned in the curative petition has been agitated in the review petition which was dismissed in the circulation. So the right answer is option number 4. All of the above 3 are correct. Come to question number 77. The President shall have the power under Article 72 of the Constitution of India where the punishment or sentence is by the court martial, where the punishment or sentence is for an offence against law relating to a matter to which the executive power of the Union extends. Option 3. Sentences is a sentence of death or all of the above. It is basically all of the above and mentioned under Article 72. Question number 78. Which of the following is not a requirement under Article 311 of the Constitution while dealing with the disciplinary proceedings for dismissal, removal, reduction in the rank of a civil servant? Options are: a departmental inquiry is held against the delinquent employee after serving him with a charge sheet, a reasonable opportunity of being heard in respect of the charges, a reasonable opportunity of making representation on the penalty proposed, or none of the above. It is option number 3, reasonable opportunity of making representation on penalty proposed, and it is mentioned where? It is basically proviso to clause 2 of Article 311. Now come to question number 79. Amendment to which of the following provisions of the Constitution require ratification by the state? It is list 1 of 7th schedule. Right answer is option number 2. Question 80 has been deleted by Delhi Judiciary. Come to question number 81. Which of the following is not a fundamental duty under Article 51A? To abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture, to provide opportunity of education to the child below the age of 6 years by his parent and guardian, or option 4, to have compassion for living creatures. Option number 1, 2 and 4 are given exactly in 51A, but here in option number 3 this thing is not mentioned. Education, opportunity of education is there, but the option is given incorrect. And right to education to child is where? Under Article 51A point K, because it is mentioned that the age should be between 6 to 14 years and not below the age of 6 years. So option 3 is the correct answer. Option 3 is DPSP in Article 45. Question 82. Which of the following is the directive principle of state policy? To provide paternity leave, to organize Gram Sabhas. Option 3, to provide participation of workers in management of industries. Option 4, to take steps for separation of judiciary from legislature. DPSP, it is option 3, to provide for participation of workers in management of industries, and it is Article 43A. Question number 83. Which of the following is a fundamental right? Fundamental rights are where? Under Article 12 to 35. Now see the options. To assemble with arms, to form cooperative societies, right to employment. Option 4, right of religious denominations to own immovable property only for charitable purpose. It is option number 2, to form the cooperative societies, and it is mentioned where? Under Article 19(1)(c). Come to question number 84. Which of the following is a state for the purpose of Article 12? Option 1, National Council of Educational Research and Training. Option 2, Institute of Constitutional and Parliamentary Studies. Option 3, Indian Oil Corporation. Or option 4, High Court of Delhi. It is option number 3, Indian Oil Corporation. Others are not state according to the Article 12. Come to question number 85. Which of the following articles was amended by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act? Article 330, Article 13, 131 or 354? It is Article 330. And what is Article 330? It is a reservation of seats for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in the House of People. And Article 354 is what? It is application of provisions relating to distribution of revenues while proclamation of emergency is in operation. And Article 131 is what? It is original jurisdiction of Supreme Court. And Article 13 is laws inconsistent with or in derogation of the fundamental rights. Now come to question number 86. Which of the following writs can be sought to be issued to quash unconstitutional appointment of a public office? Quo warranto, mandamus, prohibition or certiorari? It is quo warranto, option number 1. Now question 87. Parliament of India shall consist of 2 houses and ministers, 2 houses, ministers and attorney general, or 2 houses and the president. It is 2 houses and the president, option 4. Question 88. Which of the following is not a constitutional body? Election Commission, Planning Commission, Finance Commission or CAG? It is option 2. Planning Commission is not a constitutional body. Question 89. Which of the following is not a requirement to be satisfied by the state to exercise their discretion while providing for reservation in promotions in favor of SC/STs? Backwardness of class, not crossing of 50% ceiling in the particular year, inadequacy of representation in public employment, efficiency in administration. It is option 2, not crossing of 50% ceiling. And it was given in which case? It was M. Nagaraj versus Union of India, 2006. Come to question number 90. Which of the following articles was inserted by the Constitution 98th Amendment of 2012? 371J, 371J, 191H, 243P or 396? It is option number 1, 371J. And what is Article 371J? It is a special provisions with respect to the state of Karnataka. Question number 91. The difference between section 34 and 149 of IPC is that of section 34 is related to what? Common intention, and 149 is common object. Option 1. Whereas in section 34 there must be at least 5 persons, section 149 requires only 2 persons. Option 2, 149 is only a rule of evidence, and whereas 34 is a specific offense. And section 34 requires active participation in action, and whereas in 149 passive membership of unlawful assembly. Or option number 4, both 2 and 3. The right answer is option number 3, because in common intention active participation is necessary, whereas in section 149 common object passive membership will do the work. Come to question number 92. A is carried off by a tiger. Z fires at the tiger in good faith intending to rescue A. Knowing it to be likely that the shoot may kill A, the shot fired by Z gives A mortal wound. Z has committed no offense, culpable homicide not amounting to murder, offense of causing death by negligence or murder. It is option 1, no offense. And it is mentioned where? Under section 81 of IPC. And section 81 is what? It is a rule of necessity. Come to question number 93. Which is not a stolen property? Where is stolen property mentioned? It is mentioned in section 410 of IPC. Option 1. Possession thereof was obtained by cheating, obtained by robbery, obtained by extortion or criminal breach of trust. It is option number 1. Possession whereof was obtained by cheating, because the robbery, extortion, criminal breach of trust all are of stolen property. Question number 94. In which of the following cases the offense of house breaking is committed? A. Committed house trespass by entering Z's house through the door having lifted a latch by putting a wire through the hole in the door. A. Finds the key of Z's house door which Z had lost and commits house trespass by entering Z's house through the key. Z, the doorkeeper of Y, is standing Y's doorway. A. Commits house trespass by entering the house having and deterred Z from opposing him by threatening to beat him. And option 4, all of the above. The right answer here is all of these, because it is mentioned in housebreaking is mentioned in which section? Housebreaking 445. Come to question number 95. P is found in possession of a document purporting to be a will of Q in favor of P, bearing forged signature of Q, intending that the will shall be fraudulently used as genuine after the death of Q. P has committed, option 1, no offence as it mere perpetrary to lay a claim. Option 2, no offence till the will is used. Option 3, has committed an offence so as mere possession of such document is in such circumstances penal. Or option 4, none of these, is has committed an offence. Basically, a will is one of the documents which is described in section 467 of IPC. Here the will is forged and the person in possession intends to use it fraudulently. Mere possession of such a document in these circumstances is an offence in itself, as per section 474 of IPC. Now come to question number 96. A finds a gold ring on the road, knowing it to be the property of Z. He, having unknowingly lost it there, A picks up the ring and pledges it with the moneylender to raise a loan. A has committed dishonest misappropriation of property, criminal breach of trust, theft, or no offence. He has committed dishonest misappropriation of property, and which is in section 403 of IPC. Come to question number 97. Which of the following statements is correct? Option 1, in conspiracy there is no distinction between principal and accessory. Option 2, in conspiracy principal and accessory are distinct. Option 3, there has to be distinction between the principal and accessory in all offences. Or option 4, none of the above. So it is option number 1, because in conspiracy there is no distinction between principal and accessory, and it is mentioned where? Under section 120A of IPC. Come to question number 98. If a person sitting across to a girl in public transport deliberately shows a pornographic picture to her, it amounts to the offence of what? Voyeurism, sexual assault, sexual harassment, or none of the above. It is option number 3, sexual harassment, and sexual harassment is mentioned where? Under section 354A of IPC. Come to question number 99. B and his girlfriend G, both adults, engage in a consensual sexual intercourse in the privacy of a bedroom of the latter, and B, with her consent, prepares a video clip on his mobile camera and later shows it in total privacy or to his friend F. It amounts to what? Stalking, voyeurism, rape, or none of the above? Well, it amounts to voyeurism. And voyeurism is mentioned in which section? Section 354C of IPC. And this is explanation 2 to 354C. Now come to question number 100. A woman approaches X, an officer in charge of police station, and alleges that her boyfriend tried to forcibly remove her shirt in a dress shop, seeking legal action to be taken, but X refuses to take note of the incident and asked her to file a criminal complaint before the magistrate. Here X has committed misconduct but not any penal offence, cognizable offence, non-cognizable offence, or none of the above. Well, it is cognizable offence. Answer is option number 2, because here the woman has alleged the facts that constitute the offence of criminal force with intent to disrobe, and which is mentioned in which section? Section 354B of IPC. And the failure to second information about such offence is an offence of section 166A of IPC, which is a cognizable offence. So the right answer is cognizable offence. Next is question 101. S is found in possession of property reasonably suspected to be stolen by him and is arrested by P, a police officer. S is excited to sudden and violent passion by the arrest and fires at him but kills D, who was standing near P, neither intending nor knowing himself to be likely to kill D. This is what? Culpable homicide not amounting to murder, because S had been deprived of power of self-control by grave and sudden provocation. Murder, because provocation was given by a thing done by a public servant in lawful discharge of his powers. Option C, culpable homicide not amounting to murder, because the death of D occurred by mistake or accident. Or option 4, none of these. Here the right answer is option B, murder, because provocation was given by a public servant who was doing his duty. The facts indicated here are covered by illustrations B and C of exception 1 of section 300 of IPC. Come to next question, question 102. A was sentenced to fine of rupees 1000 and in case of default to suffer simple imprisonment for 6 months. He did not pay the fine and was taken in custody. After 6 weeks, an amount of rupees 100 was released through warrant for recovery and further deposited rupees 400 and the balance remaining unpaid. A would be entitled to immediate release from the custody, entitled to release as soon as 3 months elapse, liable to undergo imprisonment for the period of 6 months, or entitled to release after such period as the court may further direct on such realization or deposit. See the section 69 of IPC. He will be entitled to release as soon as 3 months period is elapsed. Right answer is option number 2. Come to question number 103. The right of private defense of property extends to causing death of the wrongdoer under certain descriptions. Which one of the following descriptions is not included in those? Robbery, housebreaking by night, lurking, house trespass, or mischief by fire on any human dwelling. Option 3, lurking, house trespass. And right to private defense of property is in which section? 103 of IPC it is mentioned. Come to question number 104. Consider the following statements. To constitute abatement, it is necessary that the act abated must be committed. Not necessary that the act abated must be committed. Necessary that the person abated must have the same intention or knowledge as that of the abater. Which of the following statements given above represent the correct position of the law? It is only B option. So right answer is here is option number 1. Because if you see section 108 of IPC, abater, its explanation 2 says that to constitute an offence of abatement, it is not necessary that the act abated must be committed. Question number 105. Consider the following statements. Every murder is culpable homicide. Every culpable homicide is murder. Every robbery is either theft or extortion. Every extortion is robbery. Which of the statements given above are correct? Every murder is culpable homicide, correct, but every culpable homicide is not murder. So option B is wrong. This is also correct. The right answer here is option number 1. A and C are the correct statements. Next is question number 106. With respect to the difference between kidnapping from lawful guardianship and abduction, which of the following statements is correct? Kidnapping is committed only in respect of a minor or a person of unsound mind. Abduction is committed in respect of a person of any age. In former, the person kidnapped is removed out of lawful guardianship. Abduction has a reference exclusively to the person abducted. Option 3. In kidnapping, the consent of the person kidnapped or entitled is immaterial. In abduction, consent of the person moved, if freely and voluntarily given, condones abduction, or all of the above. The right answer is all of the above are correct statements. You see the section 361, which is kidnapping from lawful guardianship, plus the offense of abduction. Abduction is where? 362. So all these options are ingredients from that sections only. Question 107. X along with 4 other armed associates seize the child of Y and threatens to kill him unless Y part with his watch and diamond ring, compelling him to do so. X has committed the offense of what? Robbery, dacoity, attempt to murder, or extortion. It is option 2, dacoity. Because along with 4 others, so total 5, then threatening to kill, it becomes the offense of dacoity, and section 391 of IPC, dacoity. Question number 108. For the offense of cheating, the person deceived must have been fraudulently or dishonestly induced to deliver property. Option 2. As a consequence of the intentional inducement, damage or harm in the body, mind, reputation or property is caused or is likely to be caused to the person deceived. Option 3. Both 1 and 2 are correct, or none of the above. Offense of cheating. Cheating is mentioned where? Under section 415 of IPC. And they are mentioned that fraudulent or dishonest inducement leading to delivery of property or damage or harm to a person deceived in body, mind, reputation or property. All these are essential ingredients. Mind, reputation, property, body. So the right answer is 1 is also correct and 2 is also correct. The right answer is option number 3. 108 ka 3. Come to question 109. A and Z, both adults, agree to engage each other in fencing for amusement. In course of such fencing without any foul play, A causes a superficial hurt to Z. Here X is guilty of causing hurt by sharp-edged weapon as he attacked Z is not guilty as there is an implied consent on the part of Z to suffer such harm, is guilty because fencing is a dangerous sport, or 1 and 3. Here he will not be guilty because there is implied consent, and consent is in which section? It is section 87. Come to next question 110. In answer to the charge of defamation, which of the following is a good defense? Imputation which is true and published for a public good, opinion respecting the conduct of public servant concerning discharge of duties of office expressed in good faith, both 1 and 2 or none of the above. Defamation, which section? Section 499 of IPC. The right answer is both 1 and 2. Right answer is option number 3. And it is where? See the exception, first and second of section 499. Come to question number 111. Consider the following statements. A police officer has the power to arrest any person without an order from a magistrate or warrant of arrest if he has reason to suspect his complicity in a cognizable offence punishable with imprisonment which may extend to 7 years, provided that he is satisfied for the reason in writing that such arrest is necessary. See the options. To prevent such a person from committing any further offence, for proper investigation of the offence, to prevent such person from tampering with or causing the evidence of the offence to disappear, to compel the absconding co-accused to surrender. Which of the following given statements are correct? So here he arrested because he wants to prevent that person from further offence, correct. Proper investigation, correct. And prevent from tampering with is also correct. This one is not correct. So right answer is option number 3. 1, 2 and 3 are correct statements. And this is basically section 41 of CRPC. Question number 112. What is the period of limitation prescribed for taking cognizance of an offence which is punishable with imprisonment for a term exceeding 3 years? So it is no limitation, and it is mentioned where? Under section 468 of CRPC. Come to next question 113. Which of the following statements are true? Inquiry means every inquiry including a trial conducted under the CRPC by magistrate or court. Inquiry means every inquiry other than a trial conducted by the Code of Criminal Procedure by a magistrate or court. Investigation includes all the proceedings under the Code of Criminal Procedure for collection of evidence conducted by a magistrate, or all of the above. It is basically option number 2. Inquiry means every inquiry other than a trial conducted. And it is mentioned where? Under section 2G and 2H of CRPC. Come to next question 114. Indicate the correct statement regarding the rights of an arrestee. A person arrested without a warrant has the right to be informed of all the particulars of offence for which he is arrested, to have a relative or friend named by him to be informed of his arrest, have an advocate of his choice remain present throughout his interrogation, be medically examined by medical officer. Which of the following statements is correct? It is option number 3, because first, second and fourth statement is correct. This one is not correct. If you see the section 41D of CRPC, then it makes very clear that the right to have an advocate of his choice remain present but cannot be throughout the interrogation. So that is why option 3 is wrong. Come to question number 115. In order to compel appearance of a person who is absconding in spite of warrant of arrest being issued against him, his property may be ordered to be attached simultaneously with the issuance of a proclamation under section 82 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, provided that the court is satisfied that such person is about to dispose of the whole property or part of the property, about to remove the whole or any part of the property from the local jurisdiction of the court. Either condition 1 or 2 exists, or both condition coexist. So it is what? Either condition exists, and it is basically proviso or to section which 83 subsection 1 of CRPC, which talks about two different situations and permits a simultaneously order of attachment in either of them. Next is question 116. Which of the following is not an essential search procedure under section 100 of CRPC? Option 1, calling upon two independent and respectable inhabitants of the locality to witness the search. Option 2, signing of search memo by the witnesses to search. Option 3, attendance of occupant of the place during the search. Or option 4, signature of the accused on the search list. It is option 4, signature of the accused on the search list, because all the above three are essential search procedure under section 100, and these are subsection which 4, 5 and 6 of section 100. Come to question number 117. No wife shall be entitled to receive maintenance from her husband under section 125 of CRPC, which is what? Maintenance. If she has obtained a divorce from her husband and has not remarried, is unable to maintain herself, refused to live with her husband on the ground that he keeps a mistress, is living in adultery. So when she will not be entitled, if she is living in adultery, and it is specifically mentioned under section 125 subsection 4 of CRPC. In all the above three conditions, she will be entitled to receive maintenance. Now come to question number 118. On the non-completion of investigation, that is failure of the prosecution to file charge sheet within the prescribed period of 90 or 60 days as given in section 167 of CRPC, the accused person is to be discharged unconditionally. Accused person shall be released on the bail if he is prepared to and does furnish bail. Option 3, right of the accused person to be released on bail could be defeated by the subsequent filling of the charge sheet under any circumstances. Or option 4, none of the above. It is option number 2, and it is mentioned where? Under section 167 subsection 2 of CRPC. Proviso. Here the statutory right cannot be defeated as the right accrues on default. Now come to question number 119. G, a 17 years old girl, was married to H. H, during the subsistence of the said marriage, entered into another marriage with P. The court may take cognizance for the offence of bigamy if the complaint brought by her father, mother, brother, sister, son, daughter, or by her father's or mother's brother or sister. Okay. Any other person related to her by blood, marriage, adoption with the leave of the court. Okay. Some other persons on her behalf with the leave of the court, but where there is guardian appointed in her respect, then only after such guardian has been heard. Correct. So the right answer is what? Option number 4, all of the above. And these options are basically covered in the proviso A, B, C to section which? 198 1 of CRPC and 198 subsection 3, subsection 1 and 3 of CRPC. Come to question number 120. A is accused of an act which may amount to theft or receiving stolen property or criminal breach of trust or cheating. At trial, the formal charge is framed only for the offence of theft. The evidence adduced at trial shows that he committed the offence of criminal breach of trust. He may be convicted for the offence of theft only, for which the formal charge was framed. For the offence of criminal breach of trust, though he was not charged with such offence, the trial is vitiated, or none of the above. It is option number 2, for the offence of criminal breach of trust, though he was not charged with such offence. Section 221(2) of CRPC. Now come to question number 121. The categories of person who may without their consent be charged and tried together include persons accused of different offences committed in the course of same transaction, more than one offence of the same kind committed by them within the period of 12 months, neither one nor two, or both 1 and 2. The right answer is option number 1 only, and it is mentioned where? Under section 223D of CRPC. Next is question number 122. F, a French national on a tourist visa to India, was raped by a group of 4 boys 2 days prior to her scheduled departure from India. FIR was registered on her statement and the offender were charge sheeted. On being summoned by the court to depose as the witness during trial, she refused to come to India on the ground of fear and inconvenience. Which of the following options is most appropriate for the trial court? Issue non-bailable warrant against F through है, spelling mistake है यहाँ पर, through of Home Affairs to compel appearance, initiate proceedings for punishment for the non-attendance of by F under section 350 of CRPC. drop F as a witness and acquit the accused persons. Option 4, issue a commission for examination of F. The right answer here is issue a commission for examination of F. Option number 4. This one is a conceptual based question. Come to question number 123. A was acquitted of the charge of for voluntary causing grievous hurt by throwing acid on X, as the victim did not support the police version about involvement of A in the incident. Though grievous hurt by acid was proved, X seeks compensation from trial court. The trial court may, option 1, dismiss the claim because the accused was acquitted, dismiss the claim because the victim turned hostile during the trial. Option 3, consider making recommendation to the state legal services authority for compensation to victim. Option 4, direct the accused to pay compensation to the victim on humanitarian grounds. It is option number 3 and mentioned where? Under section 357A subsection 3 of CRPC, which permits a recommendation if the offence is proved but complicity of accused is not proved. Question number 124. A faced trial for cheating Z by dishonestly inducing him to lend money by knowingly pledging fake diamonds. Z died during the trial and was survived by son X. X moved an application in the trial court to compound the offence. Which of the following is the correct legal preposition? Come to the options. Option 1 say that X is not competent to compound the offence. Option 2, on the death of the complainant Z, the trial proceedings shall abate. Option 3, the court cannot entertain such an application after the death of the complainant. Option 4, X can compound the offence with the consent of the court. It is option number 4. And compounding of offences in which section? Section 320 of CRPC. Question number 125. Who can file an application for plea bargaining in the court in which offence is pending for trial? Plea bargaining, section 265A to L of CRPC. The public prosecutor, victim, investigating officer, or none of the above? It is none of the above. Option 4 is the correct answer. See the section 265B subsection 1, accused of an offence. So who can file? Only the accused. Come to question number 126. A criminal court at conclusion of a trial may order restoration of possession of immovable property to the person who had been dispossessed therefrom by use of criminal force or by criminal intimidation by the person convicted, the destruction of pornographic material in respect of which conviction was recorded. Both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. It is both 1 and 2. Option 3 is the right answer, and it is mentioned where? Under section 452 and 455 of CRPC. Question 127. A metropolitan magistrate may release an accused on bail in a non-bailable offence except in the following cases: if there is a reasonable ground for believing that he has been guilty of an offence punishable with death or imprisonment for life. Option 2, there are reasonable grounds for believing that he has been guilty of a cognizable offence and he has been previously convicted of an offence punishable with imprisonment for 7 years. Option 3, he had been previously convicted on 2 or more occasions of cognizable offence punishable with imprisonment for 3 years. Or option 4, all of the above. It is option 4, all of the above. And all these are mentioned under section 437(1) of CRPC. Now come to question number 128. In compounding the period of limitation, the period which may be excluded includes the time during which any person has been prosecuting with due diligence another prosecution on the same facts in good faith and the court without jurisdiction, period for which the prosecution in respect of such offence has been stayed by an injunction or order. Option 3, period during which the application of accused for release on bail was pending. Or option 4, both 1 and 2. It is option number 4, 1 as well as 2. And these are section 14 and 15 of Limitation Act. 14 and 15 of Limitation Act. Come to question number 129. The proceedings before a criminal court are vitiated if the presiding magistrate, who is not empowered by law to do so, issues a search warrant erroneously but in good faith, holds inquest under section 176 of CRPC but in good faith, tries an offender summarily. Or option 4, all of these. It is offender tries an offender summarily, and it is mentioned where? Under section 460A of CRPC and C. And if you see the section 461M, then it renders a summary that by an incompetent magistrate is void. And here the magistrate is not empowered by law, so he is incompetent. and these both are in good faith, so comes under section 460A and C. Come to question number 130. Prosecution of a case involving misappropriation of property belonging to the central government can be withdrawn by any public prosecutor on the direction of state government, public prosecutor appointed by central government on the direction of the state government, public prosecutor appointed by the state government on permission granted by central government, or any public prosecutor on the direction of the central government. It is option number 3, on the permission granted by the central government. And it is which section? Section 321 of CRPC. If you see the proviso, then it is mentioned that it applies when the public prosecution is not appointed by the central government. Question number 131. Consider the following statements. A decree means and includes formal expression of adjudication which, so far as regards the court expressing it conclusively, determines the rights of the party with regard to all or any of the matters in controversy in the suit, any adjudication from which appeal lies as an appeal from the order. Option 3, any order of dismissal of suit for default. Option 4, rejection of plaint. Which of the statements given above are correct? It is option number 3, this statement as well as this statement. Decree is mentioned where? Under section 2, subsection 2 of CPC. Come to question number 132. Which is the correct essential conditions for the applicability of the rule of sub judice? Which section? Section 10 of CPC. The matter in issue in a subsequent suit must be directly and substantially in issue in the previous suit. The parties must be litigating under the same title in both the suits. Option 3, both and 1 and 2, and option 4, neither 1 and 2. The right answer is what? Option 3, both 1 and 2. Because both are essential requisites for stay of suit on the principle of res sub judice. Section 10 of CPC. Come to question number 133. The expression former suit in the context of a rule of res judicata. Res judicata is in which section? Section 11 of CPC. Means a suit which has been instituted prior to the suit in question, decided prior to the suit in question. Both 1 and 2 are neither 1 nor 2. It is option number 2, decided prior to the suit in question. And this one is explanation 1 of section 11 of CPC. Come to question number 134. Which of the following statements is true? A suit for recovery of immovable property shall be instituted in the court in whose jurisdiction the property is situated. A suit for partition of immovable property shall be instituted in the court in whose jurisdiction the defendant resides or works for gain. Option 3, both 1 and 2, or option 4, neither 1 nor 2. It is basically option 1. And it is mentioned where? Under section 16(1) of CPC, which says that suit for recovery of immovable property shall be instituted in the same court in which the jurisdiction of the property lies. Come to question number 135. Consider the following statements. A defendant may set up by way of a counterclaim against the claim of the plaintiff any right or claim in respect of the cause of action accruing to him. Option 2. The counterclaim may be submitted by the defendant even after he has delivered his defense. Option 3. The counterclaim shall not exceed the pecuniary jurisdiction of the court. Which of the statements given above are correct? So the first and the third statement is correct and not the second one. So the right answer is option number 2. And counterclaim etc. are given in order 8, rule 6A of CPC, which makes it very clear that counterclaim may be set up before the defendant has delivered his defense. Therefore, option 2 is wrong and the other two statements are correct. Come to question number 136. Which of the following statements is incorrect? A representative suit may be instituted by one or more persons for the benefit of all interested persons with the permission of the court. Notice of the institution of a representative suit must be given by a public advertisement at the plaintiff's expense to all the interested persons where by reason of their number personal service is not reasonably practicable. Option 3. Any person for whose benefit a representative suit has been instituted may apply to join as a party thereto. Option 4. The person who instituted the suit or persons who joined as party have unrestricted right to compromise with the defendant. Incorrect statement is the fourth one. And if you see the order 23 of CPC, the right to compromise with the defendant is not unrestricted right. So fourth is the incorrect statement. Come to question 137, where the defendant is absent at the time of the service of summons is sought to be effected on him at his residence, there being no likelihood of his availability within reasonable time, and in absence of an empowered agent, the service may be made on any adult male member of his family, any adult female member of his family, a servant engaged by the defendant at his residence, or option 4 both 1 and 2. It is option 4 both 1 and 2, किसी भी मेल एडल्ट मेंबर को या फिर फीमेल एडल्ट मेंबर को. एंड इट इज मेंशन्ड वेयर अंडर ऑर्डर 5 रूल 15 ऑफ CPC. Order requires that the person should be adult member of the family, and it is made very clear in that order that the adult member can be a male or female. And moreover, servant, the explanation to order 5 rule 15 makes it very clear that a servant is not a member of the family. So option 3 is incorrect. Right answer is option number 4 both 1 and 2. Come to question number 138. A suit may be dismissed where summons are not served on the defendant in consequence of the failure of the plaintiff to take proper steps like filing of the court fee, postal charges and requisite number of copies of the plaint. Option 2, neither party appears when the suit is called on for a hearing. Option 3, plaintiff after summons to the defendant has returned unserved fails to apply for fresh summons for 7 days. Or option 4 all of the above. It is option 4 all of the above. See the order 9, rule 3, rule 2 and rule 5. So in all these cases a suit may be dismissed. Come to question number 139. Consider the following statements. Admission for forming the basis of the judgment may be secured from the opposite party to a civil suit by way of notice. Option 1, of admission of the case. Option 2, to admit documents. Option 3, to admit facts. Which of the statements given above are correct? The right answer here is option number 2. All of these statements are correct. And these are all. See the order 12, rule 1, 2, 4 and 6 of CPC. These all are basically provisions of these rules. So the right answer is option number 2. Come to question number 140. When a civil suit reaches the stage of hearing and examination of witnesses, the plaintiff has a right to begin. If the defendant admits the facts alleged by the plaintiff and contends that on the same additional facts alleged by the defendant, the plaintiff is not entitled to any relief, the defendant has the right to begin. Option 3 both 1 and 2. Option 4 neither 1 nor 2. It is both 1 and 2. And it is mentioned where? Under order 18, rule 1 of CPC. Question 141. Which of the following statements is incorrect? Where issues of both law and of fact arise, and if the court is of the opinion that the case may be disposed of on an issue relating to jurisdiction, it may postpone the settlement of other issues until after the issue of jurisdiction has been determined. Where a suit may be disposed of on preliminary issue, the court need not pronounce judgment on other issues settled in the case. Option 3, the preliminary issue relates to the bar to the suit created and law for the time being in force. Or option 4, none of these. Well, it is option number 2, where a suit may be disposed of on preliminary issue, the court need not pronounce judgment on the issue settled in the case. It is order 14, rule 2 of CPC, which shows that in a situation the court must postpone the settlement of other issues. The issue to be treated as a preliminary may relate to jurisdiction or ban under the law. If the issues have been settled as per order 14 rule 2, the court is obliged to pronounce the judgments on all the issues. Come to question 142. Which of the following statement is correct statement? The court which passed the decree may transfer it to another competent court if the judgment debtor carries on the business within the jurisdiction of the later court. If the judgment debtor has no property within the jurisdiction of the former court sufficient to satisfy the decree, but has property within the jurisdiction of the later court. Option 3, decree directs the sale of immovable property situated outside the local jurisdiction of the former court, or all of the above. It is option number 4, all of these. And it is mentioned where? Section 39 of CPC. Question 143. A money decree may be executed by attachment and sale of any property of judgment debtor, arrest and detention in prison of the judgment debtor for indefinite period both 1 and 2 or neither 1 nor 2? It is option number 1. Attachment and sale of any property of the judgment debtor, and it is mentioned where? Section 51B of CPC, which permits execution of money decree by attachment and sale of property of the judgment debtor. And if you see section 51C, then it permits the execution even by arrest and detention in prison of the judgment debtor, but not for period exceeding the one which is specified in section 58 of CPC, but not for indefinite period. Okay. Come to question number 144. Which of the following statements is correct? No suit not involving urgent or immediate relief may be instituted against the central government except after serving a notice of 2 months. Option 2. A decree against the Union of India may not be executed unless it remains unsatisfied for a period of 3 months. Option 3. Both 1 and 2 are correct, or option 4. Both 1 and 2 are incorrect. The right answer is option 3. Both 1 and 2 are correct. This is mentioned in section 80 and this is mentioned in section 82. Come to question 145. Which of the following statement is correct? Where on the death of a defendant the right to sue survivors against the other surviving defendant alone, the case may proceed against the surviving defendant. Where on the death of a defendant the right to sue does not survive against the other surviving defendant alone, the case shall abate against the deceased defendant if no application is made within the time limit by the law for legal representative of the deceased defendant to be made a party. Option 3. There shall be no abatement by reason of death of either party between the conclusion of the hearing and pronouncing of the judgment, or all of the above. It is option number 4. All of these. All these are direct provisions of Order 22, Rule 2, 4 and 6. So all these statements are correct. Come to question number 146. In the context of a withdrawal of a suit, which is the correct statement? If the court is satisfied that a suit must fail by reason of some formal defect, the plaintiff may be allowed to withdraw the suit with liberty to institute a fresh suit in respect of the same subject matter. Option 2. If the plaintiff withdraws from a suit without permission of the court, he may bring fresh suit in respect of the same subject matter. Option 3. If there are more than one plaintiff, one of them may withdraw the suit without the consent of other plaintiff, or option 4. All of these. The right answer is option number 1. And it is mentioned where? Under Order 23, Rule 1, Sub-Rule 3. Now come to question number 147. Which is the correct statement in context of summary procedure for civil suits? First option. May be invoked for recovery of a liquidated damage in money payable by the defendant arising out of written contract. Option 2. May be applied suo motu by a civil court in its discretion in the interest of the expeditious adjudication. Option 3. Requires the defendant to seek leave to defend, which if granted must be unconditional, or option 4. All these statements are not correct. Right answer is option number 1. And which order? Order 37, Rule 1, Sub-Rule 2B of CPC. It directly covers this option. Come to question number 148. In case of breach of any of the terms on which temporary injunction was granted, the court may order the person in breach to be detained in civil prison for indefinite period, but not after breach has ceased. Option 2. Attachment of the property of the person in breach, and if the breach continues for more than 1 year, sell the attached property and award the entire sale proceeds to the injured party as compensation. Option 3. Both 1 and 2 are incorrect, or option 4. Both are correct. The right answer is option number 3. Both are incorrect. If you see Order 39, Rule 2A of CPC, which it clearly provides that in such a situation, detention in civil prison cannot exceed 3 months and so cannot be for indefinite period and further. Come to question number 149. The leave may be granted by the civil court to deliver interrogatories. Option 1. Only to the defendants, since the plaintiff is the master of the suit. Option 2. Even if they relate to matters not in the question in the suit. Option 3. Notwithstanding the objection taken by the opposite party. Or option 4. If it considers the same necessary for disposing of the case fairly. Well, this is Order 11, Rule 1 and 2. And the right answer here is if it considers the same necessary for disposing of the case fairly. Come to question number 150. A decree becomes final when it conclusively determined the right of the parties. Option 2. No appeal has been preferred against the decree. Option 3. both 1 and 2, or option 4, neither 1 nor 2? Well, it is option number 3, both 1 and 2. And where is decree defined? It is under section 2, subsection 2 of CPC decree. Now come to the English part. Question number 151 to 153. In each of these following questions, choose the pair from the options that is similar in the relationship to the one expressed in the given pair. The sculptor, chisel. The right answer here is tailor, the needle. Question 152, wrist, watch. Right answer is neck, chain. Question 153, constellation, star. Right answer is archipelago, 2 islands. Question number 154 to 156, choose the meaning of the idioms and phrases. Stand on ceremony means what? It is casual approach. Right answer option number 1. Next 155, show a clean pair of heels means to run away. Option 1. Question 156, the gift of the gab means what? A talent for speaking. Option number 3. Now question number 157 to 159, choose the word that is similar in the meaning to the word given. Similar meaning. Question 157, inundate meaning क्या है? Whether invite, to flood, immediate or fragile. It is to flood. का meaning वैसे क्या होता है? It is to fill quickly beyond capacity. Next is question 158, quibble. Quibble का meaning क्या? Means an evasion of the point of an argument by raising irrelevant distinction or objections. So it means surrender, play, petty objection or fidget. The right answer here is petty objections. Option number 3. Question 159, zany. Zany means what? Imitator, intelligent, thinker or enthusiastic. It is imitator. Come to question number 160 to 162, choose the word that is opposite in meaning. So 160, probity. Opposite is deception. And what is the meaning of probity? Probity means what? Complete and confirmed integrity, having strong moral principle. Question 161, intolerable. Options are extreme, offensive, bearable or impossible. It is option number 3, bearable. 162, lustrous. Opposite are slippery, bright, lopsided or dreary. It is dreary. Option number 4. Appropriate pronoun भरना इसमें. 163, Ritu has eaten her lunch already, but I am saving dash until later. I am saving her, hers, mine, my. Right answer is I am saving mine until later. Option 3. 164, we gave them dash telephone number and they gave us dash. So it is we gave them our telephone number and they gave us theirs. Option 1 is the right answer. Question 165, dash pen is broken, can I borrow dash? So it is my pen is broken, can I borrow yours? Option 2 is the right answer. 166, outgoing and dash by nature, Kavita became even more gregarious at the school party. So it is outgoing and affable. And what is the meaning of affable? Affable means friendly. Question 167, the health ministry rejected the drug because the tests conducted for toxicity showed dash results on the patient. Showed toxic results on the patient. Option 4 is the right answer. Question 168, the district collector dash the minister about the flood situation. It is apprised. Option 3 is the right answer. 169, don't loiter dash the street, about the street. Option 2. Question 170, he rules dash a vast empire, he rules over. Option 1. Now 171, the noise comes from dash the river, comes from across the river. Third is the right answer. Question 172, I have not heard the dash news, the latest news. Option 3 is the right answer. 173, he is dash than I expected, he is later. Option 1 is the right answer. 174, the dash chapters are lacking in interest. the later chapters. Option 2 is the right answer. 175. Ours is the dash house in the street. Ours is the last house in the street. Option 4 is the correct answer. Question 176. The first cellular phone service in India was introduced by whom? Bharti Airtel, Modi Telstra, Motorola, Reliance Telecommunication. It is option 2, Modi Telstra. 177. Rapid Action Force, a central armed force, was raised on October 7, 1992 to suppress communal and intercaste rights anywhere in India, to protect public property, rescue human lives in the time of natural calamities, or all of the above. It is to suppress communal and intercaste rights anywhere in India. Option 1 is the right answer. 178. The first indigenously built submarine to join the Indian Navy was INS Vikrant, Shaktiman, INS Shalki, or Vajra. It is INS Shalki. 179. The US whistleblower Edward Snowden has been granted asylum by China, Russia, Italy, Pakistan. It is by Russia. Option 2 is the correct answer. Question 180. Who is known as Iron Lady of Manipur? Mary Kom, Binalakshmi, Neparam, Nalini Baladevi, or Iron Sharmila? It is Iron Sharmila. Next is question 181. The first Indian to receive the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award is whom? A.R. Rahman, Satyajit Ray, Pandit Ravi Shankar, or Anushka Shankar? It is Pandit Ravi Shankar. Option 3 is the right answer. 182. Human hair is made of the same substance as fingernails, teeth, bones, or muscles. It is as fingernails. Option 1 is the correct answer. 183. The thyroid cartilage is commonly known as Windows peak, Adam's apple, Newton's apple. None of these. It is Adam's apple. Option 2 is the right answer. 184. The smallest particle of an element which is capable of taking part in chemical reaction is molecule, nucleus, atom, or matter. It is atom. Option 3 is the right answer. 185. The year 2014 is observed by the United Nations as International Year of Small Island Developing States, crystallography, family farming, or all of the above. It is all these. And year 2022 is International Year of Basic Science for Sustainable Development. And year 2021 was the International Year of Fruits and Vegetables. And 2023 will be International Year of Millets. 186. India's National Coral Reef Research Center is located at Kavarathi, Port Blair, Minicoy, or Calicut. It is Port Blair. Option 2 is the right answer. 187. Kaziranga National Park, famous for one-horned rhinos, is situated in Assam, Madhya Pradesh, Kerala, or West Bengal. It is Assam. Option 1 is the right answer. 188. The planet with the largest moon is Venus, Mars, Jupiter, or Saturn. It is Jupiter. Option 3 is the right answer. 189. Mariana Trench, the deepest part of the ocean, lies in the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, or Arctic Ocean. It is Pacific Ocean. Option 1 is the right answer. Question 190. The imaginary lines drawn out on the global map from poles to poles and perpendicular to the equator are called latitudes, tropics, longitudes, or meridians. It is called meridians. Option 4 is the right answer. Question 191. Which is the only country in the world that won its independence because of a slave revolt? America, South Africa, Haiti, or Italy? It is Haiti. Option 3 is the right answer. Question 192. Which is the first state to achieve 100% sanitation in rural and urban households? Kerala, Sikkim, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh. It is option 2, Sikkim. Question 193. Which book was withdrawn by Penguin India from the Indian market following an out-of-court settlement? It is option number 4, The Hindus, an Alternative History. Question 194. 2013 All India Football Federation Award for the Player of the Year was given to whom? It was given to Sunil Chetri. Option 4 is the correct answer. Question 195. Who is the chairperson of the 20th Law Commission of India? It was Justice A.P. Shah. Option 3 is the correct answer. At present, it is 21st Law Commission headed by Justice B.S. Chauhan. Question 196. The Supreme Court dismissed the petition filed by the Swiss firm Novartis for protection of patent of what? Cancer fighting drug, diabetes fighting drug, AIDS fighting drug, or tuberculosis fighting drug. It was cancer fighting drug. Option 1 is the correct answer. Question 197. Name the sport with which Calcutta Cup trophy is associated. Football, rugby union, cricket, or badminton. It was rugby union. Option 2 is the correct answer. 198. The fastest supercomputer of the world is K computers, Cray, Sequoia, or Tianhe 2. It is option 4. Tianhe 2. Question 199. Who was the first woman Chief Information Commissioner of India? She was Deepak Sandhu. Option 3 is the correct answer. Question 200. The 61st National Film Award for the Best Feature Film was given to which film? It was given to Ship of Theseus. Option 2 is the correct answer. And at present, it is 2021 National Film Awards is 67th Film Awards. Best film is Marakkar, and Best Actor is Manoj Vajpayee for Bhosle, and Dhanush for Asuran. And whose Best Actress? It is Kangana Ranaut for Panga movie. And with this, our 200 questions of 2014 judiciary paper is completed. If you like this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. And if there is any query, then you can ask the query in the comment sections given below. Thank you very much.